Carla Mitchell had always prided herself on being the picture of perfection. A successful corporate lawyer, a loving wife to her husband Greg, and a dedicated mother to her 2 children. Everything in her life seemed to fit neatly into place. Her friends and family admired her for her calm demeanor, her professionalism, and her unshakable poise. On the surface, there was nothing out of the ordinary about Carla's life, yet lurking beneath the polished exterior was a secret one that she could never reveal. It wasn't just any secret. It was a deep, painful truth that she had carried with her for years. A truth that could tear apart everything she had worked so hard to build: her marriage, her family, her career. The kind of secret that could leave her life in ruins, and so Carla buried it. She locked it away in the deepest corners of her mind, convincing herself that if she ignored it long enough, it would eventually fade into the past. But secrets have a way of resurfacing no matter how deep you bury them. For Carla, the memories of the past always crept back into her thoughts at the most unexpected times, during quiet moments when she was alone, when she thought no one was watching, or when a particular scent or sound would trigger something she desperately wanted to forget. The guilt was always there, lurking at the back of her mind, reminding her of what she had done. The secret had started many years ago, before she met Greg, before she had built the life she had now. It was the summer before her final year of college. Carla was young, still trying to figure out who she was and what she wanted from life. She had always been an ambitious person, but she was also seeking something more, something that could fill the emptiness she sometimes felt inside. And then she met Ryan. Ryan was everything Carla wasn't. Wild, impulsive, and carefree. He had a way about him that made her feel alive in a way that no one else ever had. He was the kind of person who didn't follow the rules, who did things on his own terms. He was magnetic in a way that made it impossible for Carla to resist him. He didn't care about the consequences of his actions, and that was something that drew her to him like a moth to a flame. At first, their relationship was casual fun and full of excitement. Ryan didn't want anything serious, and Carla didn't expect him to. She was just looking for a way to escape from her own world for a little while. What began as a simple fling soon turned into something much more complicated. Carla found herself falling for Ryan in a way she hadn't anticipated, and soon she was caught in a whirlwind of emotions that she couldn't control. But as time passed, things between them began to shift. Ryan's carefree attitude started to rub off on Carla, and she found herself doing things she would never have imagined. The boundaries between right and wrong blurred, and Carla made decisions that she would later regret. Her connection with Ryan deepened, and the lines between them became increasingly difficult to navigate. But one evening, everything changed. Carla had been out with friends at a bar when she ran into Ryan again. This time their conversation felt different, more intense. They found themselves alone in a quiet corner of the bar talking about everything and nothing. As the night wore on, the chemistry between them became undeniable. Ryan leaned in closer, his lips brushing against her ear as he whispered something that sent shivers down her spine. In that moment, Carla knew exactly where things were headed. What happened that night was something Carla would never forget. It was something that would haunt her for years to come. After everything was over, she lay there in the dark, questioning everything she had just done. How had she let herself get to this point? How had she allowed herself to lose control? But the truth was, she didn't have an answer. The guilt gnawed at her, but the allure of Ryan's reckless energy had been too powerful. She told herself that it was a mistake, that she would never let it happen again. But deep down, she knew that the damage had already been done. The next few weeks were filled with a sense of unease. Carla tried to push the memory of that night out of her mind, but it was always there, lurking in the background. She went through the motions of her daily life, trying to pretend that everything was normal, but inside she was a mess. She knew that what she had done was wrong, but she couldn't bring herself to tell anyone. Not Greg, not her friends, not even herself. And then just when Carla thought things were starting to settle down, life threw another curveball her way. She found out that she was pregnant. The news hit her like a ton of bricks. She stared at the positive pregnancy test in disbelief, her heart racing as panic set in. She had never intended for this to happen. She wasn't ready to be a mother. Not yet. And she certainly wasn't ready to tell Greg about what had transpired between her and Ryan. But there was no turning back now. The reality of the situation sank in, and Carla realized that her life was about to change forever. She considered her options. What were her choices? The idea of ending the pregnancy was one that she couldn't bear to think about, but at the same time, how could she bring a child into the world under these circumstances? How could she ever face Greg? The guilt and shame consumed her every thought, making it nearly impossible to think clearly. In the end, Carla made the decision to keep the pregnancy a secret from Greg. She told herself that she would figure it out later, that she would come up with some excuse when the time came. For now, though, she would live in the shadows of her own guilt, trying to maintain the perfect life that everyone thought she had. Months passed and the pregnancy progressed. Carla's life became a delicate balancing act. She continued with her career, tried to be a good wife and mother, all the while hiding the growing secret inside of her. She did everything she could to keep up appearances, but the weight of the secret was always there, just beneath the surface. When the time came to give birth, Carla did so in complete silence. She had arranged for everything to happen quietly in a way that no one would ever know. She gave birth to a baby boy, whom she named Adam, and then made the hardest decision of her life. She placed him for adoption, knowing that it was the only way she could move forward. It was the most painful decision she had ever made, and it was one that she would carry with her forever. She never spoke of Adam to anyone, not Greg, not her family, not her friends. She buried the memory of him deep inside, convincing herself that it was for the best. But as the years went by, the secret grew heavier. Carla's perfect life began to crack at the edges. She tried to forget, tried to convince herself that she had made the right choice. But the guilt never left. The memory of Adam, the son she had never truly known, haunted her every day. She had made a sacrifice, but at what cost? Could she ever truly move on from the decision she had made? And then one day, as if fate had been waiting all this time, Carla received a letter. It was from a private investigator, someone who had been hired by an unexpected source. The letter contained a single sentence that sent Carla's heart racing. "I think you need to know that Adam is alive and he wants to meet you."